Hi, it's Mark Owen from Moose, Mark's PR, the editor of Punchline magazine, and welcome to Punchline Talks. Today I'm with Daniel O Neill, the managing director and founder of ProCook. Welcome, Daniel. Welcome to Punchline.
Good to see you again, Mark.
Yeah, nice to see you again. Goodness, every time I see you, you seem to have grown the company that little bit more. I was just reading back, it was 2017 I interviewed you for the first time. There you had 24 stores. How many stores have we got now?
Yeah, we've moved on a bit. So we're up to 48 stores now. And the web is now overtaken. So web is now more than 50% of the business. With total turnover probably annualized now around 70 million. So it really is pushing on. Most of that in the UK, a little bit with Amazon and in France and Germany, but generally most in the UK. But yeah, they are growing. The European part will be definitely where we'll turn a focus sooner or later.
You also opened a new store in the Keys very short. You've always been well known for having that one in the corner of Gloucester Keys. You're going next to Marks and Spencer's, is that correct?
Yeah. We like that location. Our old location, we really did like that location outside. You sort of got a bit of the sort of the historic nature of the shopping centre, but yes, it was too small, so we've moved inside, and that unit came available next to M&S. So we have a similar profile to an M&S client, so we thought it was a good opportunity to take advantage and upsize. It also allows us. We've expanded a lot into tabletop in the last 12 months. So it also gives us a space to really show that off. So yeah, come along. It's worth seeing. The difference is quite amazing.
Well, I'm sure I pop in. I've often popped into your shops over the years and spent a small fortune on things. Most people won't realise, but actually, where you are now is in your warehouse in Waterwells. Is that right?
Yeah. No, well, this is actually, so this year we ran out of space at Waterwells. So I'm now actually at our second unit. So as we import most of our goods by container from predominantly the Far East, and they come into this unit, which is just opposite the incinerator. So some Modwin development opposite the incinerator. So all the goods come into here, and then they would go out to our head office, obviously where we've met previously, or out to the shops. So the previous or still current head office now just is for web pick and pack.
Right.
Yeah.
How big of warehousing have you got now? What's the square feet?
So the original one was 43,000, and this one is now 56. So it's and the beauty of this one is we've got this amazing training showroom facility. So I can give you a tour if you want later. I can pick up the notebook and show you around.
Yeah, well, yeah, we could do that. We could do that at the end. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to go back a little bit. So, Julian Duckington's well known and famous for starting off on in a stall in Cheltenham. Emma Willis was selling second-hand shirts and clothes from a wheelbarrow in London or something like this. How did you get into cookware? What did you do beforehand?
I used to write software, ironically. So my background is writing software, and early 1993, I started myself and my brother. We started an agency, and we did off-the-page advertising for people. That was so we did that for a couple of years, and it was sporadic. You ended up with a really good account, and then potentially you lost that account, and so it was sporadic work. And then we decided, well, if we can produce advertising for other people to sell things off the page, then why shouldn't we have a go ourselves?
Yeah.
So we went out to Hong Kong, and to find what we felt was going to be a product that would be suitable, right price point, that we could sell off the page. And that was in 1995. So 25 years ago, just past actually, we just had our 25th anniversary. And we found this cookware set, stainless steel cookware set, 12 pieces, a mug's eye full, as you would say, in terms of selling something off the page. And it was $199, and it was a great product. I actually I took it along to Sue at Kitchener's, and said, what do you think? She said, yeah, I think we could sell some in the shop. So I thought, this is good. We've got a good thing. And so that was it. We produced an advert in BBC Good Food, and it absolutely took off. So that first container, I lived in Cudnall Street at the time, in a tiny little tiny cottage, and there was this 40-foot container pulling up, and we were loading sets of cookware into the garage, and it was incredible. So myself and my brother and our mother. So that's.
How did you then go from one product to another product to another product? Just experiment? What was the sort of process there? Or, I mean, were you caterers anyway? You were just looking for product. Did you?
No, we were very keen. So myself and my brother, we were brought up. My mother was sort of make us self-dependent. So we both enjoyed cooking. So we had a love, and that was a pastime that we did enjoy. So we felt we felt it was a good mix to get into it. But in terms of most things off the page, you get a bit of fatigue. So it started really, really well, and as you can imagine, the more people see it, the less your conversion drops off. So we had to come up with some other ideas. We sold a slightly smaller set, a 6-piece set for less, about half the price, and we also sold a knife set. So that was our first sort of drift into a little bit more of range expansion. And then we thought we actually started then thinking, okay, so that's direct to consumer. What other outlets were there? So the first thing we tried was BBC Good Food Show, when it was still in Olympia. And we did that, and that was the first consumer fair we did. And that went really, really well. So I think one year we did 26 consumer fairs. So Ideal Home Show, 3 Counties, you name it. I mean, we did it. Gardener's World, cake decorating, and it just, so that, and then we, obviously, as we were doing that, we extended the range. So we started speaking to other brands so that we could sell them on the stand. So it was like a shop, really. It was like a shop at these consumer fairs. And we did that for a couple of years. But during that period, we started, I was introduced to Will Hobhouse at Whittard. And he said, why don't you, I think he came onto one of the stands at the Ideal Home Show, and we got chatting. He said, why don't you try and put a small cook shop in a Whittard's? So we gave that a go, and it worked really well. And we rolled that out to 5 or 6. And we thought, hang on, rather than do a little store within a Whittard's, we should do our own store. So Will introduced me to the landlord where we were actually trading, which was MacArthur Glen, who've got the centre in Swindon. And they said, we'll come and have a go. So we did a temporary lease, and we had a crack, and it went really well. So we got to 13 stores by 2002. And then we had a little bit of a blip.
Right.
As they say. So yes, I think in any successful story, somewhere along the lines, there's a bit of something trips you up. Right. And in our case, we were using the software that I'd written up to that point, and it was creaking a little bit now. So we decided we were going to outsource. and we outsourced to a company called Ideal Software, which turned out not to be ideal. So we used to sell a product with 4 easy installments, interest-free installments.
Yeah.
So a bit like Klarna, but 25 years ago. And so yes, and we took, so generally we'd take the first payment, and then on the anniversary of each month, we took the final 3. And anyway, this software, it should have gone in late summer, went through autumn, and we got up to November time, and it was just getting later and later. They said, okay, it's sorted. We're ready to go. And we installed it, and it all seemed to be going well. And there's about 24 people, just to give a bit of context, in our call center. So we were sort of 8 to 10 million mail order at that stage. So it was a big, it had grown very nicely. And we were taking the orders, all the sort of the Christmas catalogue. I think we printed, I can't remember now, a vast amount of catalogues. It was in the Daily Mail, in Good Food, Sainsbury's magazines, inserted everywhere. And the sales were coming through, were going out. The stock was going up the warehouse, and we get a call from the bank saying, Mr. O'Neill and Mr. O'Neill, you're dreadfully, you're going to go overdrawn. And we said, that's impossible. And anyway, it came around that it was taking the first £50 payment and refunding £150. So yes, so we were down £100, or we were down 50% of the order value for every order we shipped.
Right.
So we had to stop shipping, and so unfortunately, what happened is people still thought they were paying. Obviously, people didn't realise that at this stage they were getting it for nothing, less than nothing.
Yeah.
So they were ringing up saying, "Where are my goods?" We had to stop shipping because every time we shipped a goods, we debited. We took the money out of our account. So this order pool just kept building and building and building while we were trying to work with Ideal Software. And it was they put in one fix and it didn't work, and we ended. I mean, on one morning in December now, we took something like 6,000 phone calls before 12, and I mean, we didn't take them all. I mean, it was just the phones were just, so anyone who wanted to place an order couldn't get through. So we finished peak trading with a warehouse full of stock, no money in the bank, a printing bill and media bills for inserting all the catalogues. And I mean, wow, what do we do now? So that was that was the situation we were in. So luckily, we'd opened the 13 shops. So I went to see the printer, and I went to see the agency that booked all the media space, and said, "Look, this is the situation. Can't pay you any money, but we've got all this stock. So, we don't need to buy any stock. We've got these shops, so we'll sell it through, and we'll pay you over the next 6 months." And I went to see the landlady, Julia, at MacArthur Glen as well, and said, "Look, this is the position." And she said, "Okay, well, thank you for coming to see us. We'll work with you." And we did. So for 6 months, we just sold the stock. We didn't do any more mail order at that time. So actually, my brother decided at that moment he would obviously still involved in the business, but decided he would leave. He'd take the opportunity to leave the UK. So he lives predominantly spends a lot of his time now in Thailand, and not so much in the UK anymore. But so we had to push through all this stock and pay all our debts off, and then but we then were sort of without our mail orders. So we sort of overnight went from being this huge mail order company with a small bit of retail to, 100% retail with quite a significant turnover drop. But, we then started again, and we sort of said, okay, let's grow the retail chain. And then probably in about 2007, I thought the mail or the internet obviously clearly was starting to grow. So we jumped on to we got back into distance selling through the internet. So yeah, that was a fairly big blip in the road. Yeah.
I was gonna say a couple of years ago you bought Cookware as well, wasn't it? Is it Cookware or Cooks? I remember in Cirencester.
Steamer Trading.
That was it. Yes.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a bold move. I was quite surprised when you did that.
Yeah, that was the beginning of 2019. I know Ben, and so the owner of Steamer, and he said, he no longer could get the model to work of selling branded goods on the high street, because the internet, and whether it's a Juliet toaster or a KitchenAid mixer or what, the price tends to get eroded with people selling on the internet. So you have to price match in the store, and then you're obviously just not making, you're just turning stock and not making any money. So he approached me and said, look, it's going to go, unfortunately, it's going to fail. And, what do you think? And, I approached it. It was being handled by KPMG, and and I chatted to them, and we bought it out of administration. And we bought all of the stores out of the administration and laid off the people. We laid off the people because otherwise they weren't going to get any redundancy. So we took everyone over and laid them off, where the stores were clearly not going to work for us either. Too big or whatever, wrong location, too much rent. And we narrowed that down to about mid-20s. And we tried doing a mix, a blend of branded and ProCook. And it still really wasn't getting us to where it wasn't doing anything that we weren't doing with just ProCook products. So we decided again to sort of chop that down in about half, and just keep the sort of 10 or 12 better performing ones. But yeah, it was an intense, I have to say, it was an crazy intense 12 months. I don't think I've ever worked as hard as that, and it almost, because they were quite a size, similar turnover to us. So we took on a lot of people, and but yeah, we fought through it. But it was we had to use we had to stay sharp to sort of navigate through it. But it was it was a good time. It was a busy time, but it's quite exciting in a weird sort of way.
It's funny you should say that. I mean, it's a bit like some of the business people have told me about COVID and the way they've actually had to remodel and rechange their business. In the beginning, it was like,
yeah.
And we were like, oh my God. And I'm sure you're the same. And then suddenly when you put a plan in place, and all these business leaders, entrepreneurs had to work on a different model.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit different and a little bit exciting, and I know that sounds terrible because people are dying. That's not what I mean, but
no.
But they had to navigate a new way of working.
Yeah.
What's it been like for you? Well, I know what it's been like because we just wrote a story that you actually have hit £500,000 worth of sales on Black Friday. I mean, that is amazing, and congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, that was the pinnacle of, as you say, 9 months of because obviously we could see all the China when it was kicking off in China, late January, early February, we were panicking because all of our lead times were just being pushed out and out and out. And we were jumping up and down trying to get stock from our Chinese partners, and just really, really struggling. And then, of course, they all came back, and then we went. So we've been saying, and then as they came back, they said, okay, we can get that stock for you. And then we closed down. So it was like, no, we don't want that stock. We haven't got any shops. So it was this yo-yo of moving stock intake dates. But then very quickly, when the shops closed, we worked very, very hard on the ad campaign and for our website, and moved a lot. We moved an awful lot of business from what we were going to take in retail to the website. And because we had all those orders and no retail, it meant we could capitalize on that extra revenue. We didn't because a lot of people at that time who were internet only just ran out of stock. Whereas because we were roughly 50-50, we had all the stock that we would have sold in the stores, and we hold roughly a third of a year of stock anyway. So because we buy in containers, everything's own brand, we generally run at a very high stock level. So we could really, really ramp up during the COVID period. And I took the decision then. I felt that wasn't a blip. I felt that those extra people, those extra customers that we've recruited, we would have them post-COVID. So we ordered enough for our increased level and then enough for the shops to reopen. So when the shops did reopen, we were still able to maximize the sales, which we saw for Black Friday. So Black Friday last year, well, the whole week, we've now got the week, so I can update you. So the week we took 1.8 million with shops open, and this year we took 2.5 million with the shops closed.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yeah. So
what is the secret of that success? How did you do it? We're kind of running out of time already. Would you believe? It goes so quick, these things. So you have to give me the kind of
people is definitely the I mean, we've managed to we had some brilliant people before, and unfortunately, obviously with businesses closing down, you place an ad at the moment, and the caliber of the people applying for jobs is just, unfortunately if you haven't got a job, but for people looking for people at the moment, companies looking for people, it is it's a bit of a golden age, I would say. We've never had it really that good.
So it's kind of flipped over, isn't it, from being an employer's market to being an employee market? Is that right? The other way around?
Yeah, the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, it's completely gone the other way around now.
Because it's a struggle. Before COVID, trying to find people was impossible. But now, now it's that's changed completely.
So I've got to ask you, really, is there anything, before I move on to the last question, which is your top 3 tips for business, is there anything that you'd do differently if you had the chance?
So what we've done this year?
Well, no, from the whole time you started up the business from, is there one lesson that you learned and thought, well, apart from your IT guys, obviously?
Yeah. I think we decided to, when we had the banking crash in 2008, it was at that point I pulled out all of the other brands that we used to sell, and we focused on. So we focused on ProCook, and we just said, okay, it's ProCook above the door, it's ProCook on the products, and the company's ProCook, and that was a turning point. If you were being really critical, we probably, if when we'd started, we'd focused more on having a better brand identity, maybe we'd have grown a little bit quicker. Because from that point in 2008, we've seen phenomenal growth, and you know, if you look around the store, you know, we're designing everything now and tooling it all up, and you know, we've got some beautiful products. Yeah, so. Okay,
your top 3 tips then,
Well,
Daniel. What are they? Top 3 tips for business people. You've got a whole room of people watching you. What would you say to them?
It's got to be the brand. Don't build your own brand, because the internet isn't getting any smaller, and the only thing that will make you stand out, whether you're selling on someone else's marketplace or your own, is having that uniqueness. So it means your whole pricing strategy is for you to dictate. No one can come and undercut you. So yeah, brand is almost that would be my number one. Definitely my number one there, my model.
Okay, number 2?
Number 2 is people. Just, you know, I mean, find great people, but it's more than finding them. It's just, you know, just be a good employer. Just look after people, and you know, they enjoy coming to work. People have got a choice of where they want to go to work, and you know, I think people should remember that, because it's people make businesses, definitely.
And your 3rd and final one?
My 3rd and final one. Wow, that's what would I put? But you've got to be multi-channel. You've got to be omni-channel. You've got to sell everywhere. Just however somebody wants to buy your products from you, make sure they can. So if they want to buy them on Amazon, because that's how they prefer to buy things, make them available on Amazon. If they want to buy them from your website, or if they want to go and shop, let them go and shop. So yeah.
Daniel, always great to talk to you. Thanks ever so much. I would say about showing us around, but we'll have to save that for another day. Daniel O Neill, always great to talk to you. Thanks for joining Punchline Talks, and so long for now. Goodbye to you and yours.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers.